More news about the PlayStation 5 Pro has seemingly come to light according to some leaked specs. Of course, we're going to talk about that and address that as a rumor. We're also going to talk about some stuff that Tom Henderson had to say about the leaked specs and what's going on and what could be happening sooner this month. We will also be talking about I'm a Hero 2, who has been known to leak a lot of stuff in regards to Japanese video games. And they had something to say about Final Fantasy, SquareEnix, and the relationship going forward in terms of exclusivity. Now, before we jump into that, if you guys could do me a huge favor, hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe if you are new. Now, let's talk about these rumors and what some of these comments had to reveal, at least in terms of what could be happening with the PS5 Pro. First and foremost, Tom Henderson has claimed on Twitter that Sony is internally expecting the unannounced PS5 Pro specs to leak this month, and that is due to the distribution of development kits to third-party studios, which would make a lot of sense. That's typically how these things seem to leak. As they get out into third-party hands, it's more likely that these specs will see the light of day in terms of the public eye, as well as probably what the dev kit looks like, amongst other things. I imagine that throughout this month and probably January, more and more will come out, and we'll definitely be covering that here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed to keep up to date with everything happening here in regards to that. But furthermore, we also had some leaked specs, alleged leaked specs coming from the Reset Era forums. A user posted a supposed additional details and specifications of Sony's PS5 Pro model, and they're saying it's going to be revealed in September of 2024. I've highlighted a few things here that I find pretty interesting in terms of specs that we can kind of understand. Obviously, I'm not very deep and ingrained into the specifications of hardware, but I will talk about the things that I believe I can kind of understand and grasp and give you guys an idea of what we're looking at here, comparatively speaking to the PS5. Number one, we know that, or we've been told that the code name for this project is called Viola, and Viola's CPU is maintaining the Zen 2 architecture found in the existing PS5 for compatibility, but the frequencies will once again be dynamic with a peak of 4.4 gigahertz. We know that the dynamic frequency worked out really well for them, so I'm imagining that, yeah, they probably want to replicate what worked really well with the PS5 and just take that up to the next level. Now, the architecture is RDNA 3, but it's taking ray tracing improvements from RDNA 4. That means a ton of different things, right? We're talking about shaders and ray tracing and better ray tracing and a bunch of other stuff. There's allegedly over twice the raw ray tracing performance here. So, like I said, a lot of details in this that I'm just not going to talk about because I don't fully understand it, right? So we want to talk about the things that we kind of can grasp here. There's going to be 16 gigabytes of 18 gigabits per second GDDR6, which is fantastic, obviously an improvement. The GPU frequency target is 2 gigahertz. This lands the dual issue teraflops in the range of 28.67 teraflops. So we're looking at well over 2 times the power of the PS5. Obviously, without the duality of it, we're looking at 14.33 teraflops. That's only if we ignore the dual issue factor. And yeah, it's going to be releasing or be revealed September 2024. If this is true, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Tom Henderson hasn't talked about it yet. I'm very skeptical of this being true or not. I mean, currently as it stands, I don't feel that these specs are unrealistic, but I also don't feel like it makes me believe that, yes, this is for sure the case. I feel like if anyone's going to reveal the specs of the PS5 Pro, I think it's going to be Tom Henderson. He's been right about all their hardware for a couple years now, probably even longer than that. He leaked the lineup of headsets, the monitors. He leaked the PlayStation Portal. He leaked a ton of stuff that they were working on, so I don't imagine he's wrong about this. He also leaked the Edge controller as well, so I really think Tom has a very, very solid source in terms of PlayStation's hardware, and I think if we're going to hear about it, it's going to be through him. I don't think it's going to be through another avenue like this, at least not in my opinion. So I would take this one as a heavy rumor, heavy rumor. I wouldn't say that this is, like, I wouldn't even put 50% of my faith into this one. Let's wait for more reliable sources, or even wait for Sony if you really want to get the facts, because at the end of the day, that's the only person or group of people that can actually give us the facts about the PlayStation 5 Pro hardware. But really looking forward to that. Love to hear you guys' thoughts if you plan on buying that, if it does drop. I personally, definitely day one. That's a no-brainer. Definitely a day one purchase. Now, lastly, I want to talk to you guys about SquareEnix and Sony. And apparently there's more exclusives coming here. On the Reset Era forums, Head on the Block, who was previously known as I'm a Hero 2, and provided correct information regarding a variety of Japanese titles, recently commented on the PlayStation and SquareEnix exclusivity deals. On Reset Era, somebody said, I really wish Sony and SquareEnix would stop the exclusivity BS. And Head on the Block, aka I'm a Hero 2, said it's going to get much, much worse. Sorry. Now, that is the basis of what people are running with at this point, right? Some have taken this to mean that, oh, Sony is doing a ton of more exclusives. Sony is going to buy Square Enix. Sony is going to do all this type of stuff with Square Enix. Guys, I really think that's reading heavily into it. Now, granted, Head on the Block, you know, aka I'm a Hero 2, has a pretty good track record. And as far as I know, they haven't been wrong yet. So I think that they probably have some solid sources. But do I think that this means anything more than we already know, which is PlayStation and Square Enix have had exclusivity deals for years and years and years and will continue to have that? I don't think that's anything new. I don't think Sony is buying Square Enix because they have a partnership that just works for them. I think if it came down to it, maybe they would buy them. But at this point in time, I think they're just going to continue these exclusivity deals. Some have taken this to believe that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Remake, and whatever the third entry is going to be called will be indefinitely exclusive to PlayStation and PC. I think that that's tough to say for sure. I do think that those 3 games are going to be exclusive to PlayStation and PC for the foreseeable future. But I think down the road, eventually, yeah, we may see it on an Xbox if Xbox is still around by then. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything else that this could possibly mean. Are they going to have more exclusive deals? Probably. But we also see that PlayStation and Square Enix have their own relationship, and Square Enix also has relationships with Nintendo. And they also have a deal that they made with Xbox now, bringing Final Fantasy XIV there. And you got to think some of their games come to Xbox already. Visions of Mana, for example, that's coming to Xbox. So it shouldn't be a shocker if we continue to see games coming out on Xbox. But I do think the Final Fantasy franchise will continue to likely have its mainstay on PlayStation, unless it's a title that's probably really old, or it's a remaster or whatever it may be, where they just want to put it on everything. But in terms of like their big Final Fantasy titles, maybe even Kingdom Hearts, since there's no platforms technically announced for that, we'll probably see that make it to PlayStation first, and then after whatever exclusivity period time, find its way to PC, and then maybe one day be on the Xbox platform if it's still around by then. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think about this comment being made by Head on the Block. Do you think it means anything specific? Sound off in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you did not enjoy the video, hit the dislike button. Subscribe if you're new, and share the video to keep the community informed. I thank you all for watching. Take care.